Live from the EPB Fiber Optic Studio, this is WLND Signal Mountain, Chattanooga.
Health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and so much more. Welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, a production of Whitfield Media Group, with your hosts, Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World, and Dr. Christopher Greene, board-certified medical doctor.
Good morning and welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial, 98.1 The Lake. Thank you for taking your time this Sunday morning to join us. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World here in Chattanooga. And joining me is my partner, Dr. Christopher Greene, with CHI Memorial, Georgia. How are you this morning, Dr. Greene?
Having a wonderful day. You did much better that time. I will give you that. I'm the outgoing chief of staff of CHI Memorial Georgia. Still working with them. Love what CHI is doing, and our title sponsor as well. Thank you, CHI. And a big thanks to Benchmark Physical Therapy. Work with them, as well as LHC Group. That's Louisiana Healthcare. Through their wonderful companies, Home Care Solutions, Home Health of both Dalton and Ringgold now. And hopefully we will have a new open house coming up soon. I'll keep announcing that. For both Heartlight and Home Care Solutions. Hopefully we're going to get a new home down there, a wonderful, wonderful new place. Like I said, working with Heartlight Hospice of Dalton as well. Wonderful ministry and medical care to the residents of Northwest Georgia. And again, my biggest thanks to CHI. I've been working with them now for near 25 years. I know, Ed, you may have been working here a little bit longer than me, but I'm right behind you in a family tradition that goes over 150 years. I've gotten to recount that story, just the family history of going back into the late 19th century, to a lot of new patients lately. We've had a lot of providers who moved into hospital work, a lot that retired lately, and it's been a great pleasure to get a lot of new patients. What an honor, and I'm sure our whole group is, but during some of those times I'll take time and go through the family history, and it even amazes me, just how blessed I am to continue that primary care tradition. And hopefully primary care will never die. We've always seemed to move toward a specialized medicine, but the old family doctor model is still there. It's still alive and well. And for people out there listening, remember that your family practitioners do work. We're board certified, and we train in internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, and gynecology, and some even do obstetrics, which I do not. But there is a lot of variety, a lot of opportunity out there for people to find a family doctor, a family practitioner. I help train nurse practitioners for UAB and also Southern Adventist University, and that's another great honor. I have a great student right now from Southern Adventist, and it's a pleasure to work with them. I learn from the students and they learn from me. It's a two-way street. Let me share something from CHI Memorial. They want to remind you that they offer state-of-the-art digital breast 3D mammography, very important, as well as softer mammograms to ensure that you are comfortable. 3D mammography imaging, also known as tomosynthesis, is a breast technology that's different from traditional mammography. With the 3D mammography imaging, a series of images from multiple angles are converted into a single 3D image. This allows for improved visibility and improves cancer detection. Call 423-495-4040 for more information today if you have interest. Ed, I know we'll talk about a lot of things today, maybe even a little bit about restaurants and food, but tell me, what is new with you?
Thank you, my friend, and it's always a super busy week, I know, for both of us. Nutrition World is expanding, should be open in not a second location, but next door to where we are will be the new Wellness Corner, and we're hoping about August 15th to have 6 new practitioners in that unit. What it's going to do is, again, expand the offerings to Chattanooga for those people who want to take partnership in their own health journey. That can happen with many people, you included. But this is really going to open the world up for basically, and someone said this week, a wellness village. And it's going to be the entire corner of where we are at 6201 Lee Highway. What I want to do is make sure that people have access to true experts in the field of health, experts who believe, as I do, that the human body was built for healing, and we are here basically to assist it not to basically be its boss, because the wisdom of the body is already in us. It was built in us, or we would not have survived the tens of thousands of years through the jungles and all the other things we went through without the drugstores and people who could help us. Thankfully, we do have people who now and the right procedures and the right this and that. But nourishing the body, the spirit, the soul is the key to me to long-term health all the way around. And, you know, it does bother me that I will call you an old timer for sure, because, you know, we went through the stage of life where we didn't have all this specialization, and we didn't have the technology, and we didn't have the absolute black and white have to live to certain standards. You and your dad had to use intuition and wisdom so often in your practice, and I had to do that too, because you know, I'm dealing with a lot of people, a lot of questions, and I just think that I hope we're not losing this sense that people like you and I have of operating without all the specialty stuff.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on old timers, Ed. It's just because I remember Pong doesn't mean I'm an old timer. I'm just going to tell you. I guess that does actually. You know, that's true, though. There's a lot of hands-on exam, you know, things with your eyes, your ears, the old Mark I eyeballs, and your ears and your hands that people have just forgotten. They rely on technology. I still remember way back in about 1995-ish, and a retired cardiologist was just up doing rounds it was Floyd Medical Center in Rome. And he said, you know, Chris, come here. Let me show you something. And he walked into a room, got permission from the patient, and for at least 15 to 20 minutes, put his head on the patient's chest, held his hands on their chest, and after just laying there for all that time, he stood up and he said, let me tell you what the echo will look like. Let me tell you what the EKG will look like. Here are your, he knew the durations, you know, the milliseconds on the EKG. He estimated numbers, ejection fraction. I don't know how he did it, just experience. And then he said, now let's run the test to see how close I am. He was really close. And so he had not had all of that technology, but he could do it without it.
Bingo. And you know, that is so ancient. The people who have done Ayurvedic medicine rely on those types of measurements. The people who are good at acupuncture, of course, there's these things called 3 pulses, and they will actually use a very subtle touch onto your wrist, and with the information they get from those 3 different pulses can tell a huge amount about the human body. And we are losing that because of the corporate nature of medicine and health, the marketing of it, and of course but
we're not. We're not. There's still those of us out there like me that are teaching.
Yeah.
We're trying to tell people how to do that. I'm reminding. I told you those things that my father had taught me, those simple things, and one of them was touching the patient. It's amazing how simple things are forgotten in medical schools, but those of us who are out there teaching are reminding people of the senses that God gave us, how to practice medicine, to feel your way through a lot of things. Yes, you can test, but listen to your heart and your mind and your ears. You can diagnose even with your nose. I can walk in a room and know when someone has strep, you know, and any good doctor really does, but that has to be taught.
It does, and I guess my point was, I hope that people like you are able to pass it down to enough people, almost like the old Indian culture of, you know, passing down all the herbal remedies. They didn't want to write it down because they were fearful it would be changed by the white man or someone else. So it was always verbalized, the passing of this traditional history and knowledge. And you are passing it down, I know. And I just hope that it can continue with some momentum, because I know, and I'm a huge believer in this, I think you would be too, if someone's not able to look at you in the eye when they're counseling or helping you in certain ways, and they're always looking down somewhere else, I tend to question whether they have cut off that connection that needs to be connected up in order to feel that wisdom and that knowledge. And you're a person who, I've seen you many times, how you interact with people that are asking you for help, and you know, you do it the wise way.
You know, there's people have heard, we may have talked about it here, that if you're learning a procedure or a surgery, it's see one, do one, teach one. And so literally, you watch somebody, then they watch you and you do it, and then you teach the next person.
Bingo.
But that is an apprenticeship, and we still teach that way in medicine a lot of times. But I was talking to both a student and a young new doctor in town, and I said, do you still do that? He said, actually, we learned on YouTube. So would you really want someone doing, I mean, I can't say what surgeries they're doing, but would I want someone doing their first surgery on me after a YouTube video? No. I would like them to apprentice under someone, see how it's done correctly, and then do it. And they still do that, but just thinking really a YouTube video as a way to teach. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I have a little bit of difficulty accepting that kind of teaching.
Absolutely. And I'm also a pilot, and I've learned so much from older pilots and I respect any instructor of any career or job, but the pilots of the old days have that seat of the pants wisdom that you just can't learn from going to YouTube and technology in school. And the second other career that I pursued was being a police officer. And the old school police officers who had the street knowledge, that was another big chunk of wisdom for me. I learned so much from the older fellas because they were willing to pass it down. I was getting an apprenticeship.
We talked about practicing a stall last week, I think it was, and you could not have done that if you just watched the YouTube video.
No.
You couldn't have felt it. You couldn't have done it, and you wouldn't want your first time to be at the emergency. You just don't want that.
No, and no. Well, guess what, man? It's already time for us to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be discussing more about your health. Got that plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World, back again with my partner in crime, Dr. Christopher Greene, and today we are going to talk about physical therapy. I want to put my 2 cents worth in before we start. My sister, who I call Nana, about 5 months ago, I'm guessing, she has a huge dog, and he weighs about 70 pounds. He has really short legs. He's kind of an odd-looking little fella. And she was in the backyard, and she was throwing a ball. He was jumping one way, and she was jumping another. Well, it happened that he jumped the wrong way and broke both her legs. And she had to go in for surgery, the most devastating injury of her entire life at 72 years old. And I wondered if she'd ever walk again. Well, guess what? Due to physical therapy, it was absolutely miraculous. And, I've been involved in the nutrition and health industry for 41 years, and I know all about these things, but I saw it firsthand like I've never seen it. And so I truly admire anyone in physical therapy who is well-trained in quality and cares about what they do. And today we have Becky Guerin from Memorial Physical Therapy. Good morning to you. I know that you're going to talk about, a new location?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We are very excited to be located now inside the North River YMCA through Memorial Hickson's hospital campus.
Oh.
We have been in there for about 3 months now, and we are utilizing the space and helping to encourage lifelong health benefits. And
this is in the YMCA?
It is inside the YMCA.
So are you going to also teach people how to come and work out after the physical therapy?
That is one of our hopes for the program, is that people will come in and recover with their therapy that they're receiving, and then hopefully develop some lifelong habits inside the YMCA through their programs there.
For someone like me who is not terribly familiar with Hickson, except for where CHI Memorial Hickson is, which I do know that, and of course people forget we have locations downtown and in Northwest Georgia. Where in relation to the hospital is the YMCA that you do your therapy at?
We're about 1.2 miles away from the hospital, and we're located just a little bit further down on Hickson Pike.
So towards Hickson Pike, okay, I got you. Is it on the right or the left if you're heading away from the dam?
Heading away from the dam.
This is more for me because I'm going to visit sometime.
If you're headed toward downtown, we're on the left.
On the left, okay. Well, that'll help all of our listeners find you as well.
Yes.
Now, you specialize in geriatric therapy as well?
I am a certified geriatric specialist, yes. And
so what would that entail? Arthritis, perhaps, or what kind of things do you do?
All kinds of the chronic aging disease processes that affect our elderly population. So we can work on balance and vestibular disorders. Yes.
So
chronic
gait training,
pain.
fall prevention, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Do you do arthritis therapy?
We do, and we also have access to the pool at the YMCA. So we do a lot of aquatic exercise for
Is that
folks.
heated?
It is.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
Now, tell me this: does everyone need to go through a general practitioner or someone else to refer?
Typically, yes. We do request a physician's referral to initiate therapy services.
Can a nurse practitioner or PA refer as well?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So a mid-level
Wonderful.
provider could refer for therapy.
And it's obviously insurance is pretty friendly to this.
Insurance is very friendly to this.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I know, at least in my sister's case, this is what actually happened. At Nutrition World, I have about 14 different practitioners of every modality, and one of them is a personal trainer, Mackie Pierre, who's been with me going on 19 years. And he's from Jamaica, amazing individual, and he basically deals with senior citizens. We have a gym at Nutrition World that is fully stocked. It's one-on-one personal training. But what I did was I knew my sister was not going to, she's never been in a gym in her life, and I've been a gym addict since I was 14. And so during her physical therapy, she told me, she said, and she calls me Eddie instead of Ed, she said, Eddie, I never realized what you got out of going to the gym all these decades until now. These physical therapists have put me through these workouts, and I feel like a new human being. And so I gave her a gift certificate to the YMCA. Well, I knew that being that the person that she was had never been in a gym, it can be uncomfortable walking into that atmosphere. There's no doubt, especially being older. So I hired Mackie Pierre to go and meet her over there. And it was the greatest thing I've probably ever given her as far as a gift. She is so addicted now to going to the Y over here on our side of town. And I love the fact that you are kind of doing what I just did. And I think people just walking into the Y, they're going to start feeling more comfortable, and then they can sign up and they can do their thing the rest of their life.
The only thing is getting people to believe in physical therapy. I have ever since I did a sports medicine fellowship in another lifetime back in 1995. But, I'm a big believer after watching football players with horrible injuries be rehabbed and go back on the field. And I've been a big fan of physical therapy, occupational therapy ever since that time, and do a lot of referrals. How do you get people motivated to do their physical therapy? Because compliance, and there's some pain you have to push through. How do you motivate them?
That is true. I think we just have to meet each patient where they are, first of all, and develop a relationship with them. And hopefully with that, then they are going to develop some trust in my skill, trust in my colleagues' skills, and see the benefits. But that is it's a tough issue to overcome.
It can. It's hard to convince the patient sometimes. What other kinds of specialized physical therapy do you have?
So we provide generalized outpatient physical therapy. We also offer occupational therapy and have a certified hand therapist in our clinic. And then we also offer speech therapy, where we can provide the vital stim, electrical stimulation to assist with swallowing, and speech therapy as well.
A lot of people don't know outside medicine that speech therapy does swallowing as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And I know, at least from my perspective, being in Nutrition World, and it's really odd, Nutrition World, a business like mine, somewhat has a cult following of people who really totally involve themselves in the journey of the connection of nutrition and, nourishing the body in so many ways. And I will have to say, conventional medicine doesn't embrace that. And so people have to take on that themselves. But I have seen so many people as they age having these swallow issues where, they first off, they get to where they can't swallow the tablets. Then they get to where they can't swallow the capsules. Then they get to where they can't swallow food. So tell me a little bit about how that therapy would go. How do you teach somebody, or what do you do?
Well, I can't answer that specifically because I'm not a speech therapist, but typically if it's to an extent where the therapist really wants a good picture of what's going on with the swallowing process, they'll actually probably have the patient undergo what's called a modified barium swallow study so that they can get a good assessment with a radiologist to determine maybe where the location of the issue, the impairment may be, and then they can address that either with some form of exercise, the vital stim, electrical stimulation, or some modifications in diet.
A lot of times we use thickeners in the liquids. Do you sell those, by the way?
No, we don't.
Maybe something to add.
Yeah, I wonder what the ingredients are of those thickeners.
I have no idea, but I know you can probably improve on it.
That's right. Bingo. Now, how about hand therapy? What's the deal on that?
So we have a certified hand therapist, and he is trained in basically upper extremity impairments from arthritis, carpal tunnel,
Decker veins.
the queer veins, yes.
And what is that?
Elbow issues,
It's like a tendonitis of your thumb and wrist.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Too much hammering.
A lot of people typing will get that as well, and piano players. So
And
anybody-
texters, people who text a lot?
that could happen too.
Texting thumb, yes, very much. Is
Do
removing
you see
it.
any of that? My son, who just got out of college, is saying how when he gets a new job, he's going to get his ergonomic keyboards and his ergonomic mouse and all this. He's like, well, I don't want to get, texting thumb and carpal tunnel for my keyboard and all that. Do you do rehab on that, or do you see the hand people do it?
We do rehab on that, and just generally just postural education on anyone that sits in a desk for a prolonged period of time. We just kind of forget that we need to get up and move, and so we see a lot of that. Just
I guess he's being proactive. Then he
Yes.
also had me get him a one of those elevating desks
standing
and
desk,
all that.
excellent.
And I do know
Smart
that
kid.
from experience, it takes 12 weeks of any advice or any new program to establish a habit. And 12 weeks is a long time when someone's trying to do it on their own. So it's wonderful to have, people like yourself. Since I like to get free advice that I don't have to pay for, here's my question. I have jumped rope like a crazy man for decades. I now can no longer jump rope because it's like my Achilles tendon on the back of my heel is constantly inflamed if I do too much walking or I do too much things. I guess a physical therapy might be an option for me.
Physical therapy would be a great option. Doing a functional assessment, kind of seeing maybe where you have some muscle imbalance going on. If there's some flexibility that would be beneficial to help restore the strength in that gastroc muscle, that would be
Because
Good
often,
start.
tell me if this is true, I think it is, many times the place where the pain is not actually where it's originating, right?
That's true. I find that a lot of it is from some sort of biomechanical impairment, some posture impairment higher up the chain.
And I'm so glad to hear you say that. One of the things we always remember is one of the most common causes of hip pain is knee problems.
Bingo.
So you'll have the problem at the knee, but your pain's at the hip. So
Yes.
patients do need to know that as well.
Well, and I'm also, a lot of people come to Nutrition World again who's, trying to embrace the big picture of nutrition along with their therapist. And I know that I'm a huge believer in, educating them on the importance of things that create less inflammation in the body. One of those is to quit eating so many carbohydrates because that feeds the inflammatory cycle. Secondly is omega-3 fatty acids. I look at a lot of blood work of people who we do this omega check, and I can tell you out of 500 people, people who rely on food alone, I've only found 2 out of those 500 who were able to maintain optimal levels of omega-3. It requires supplementation. I don't care what anybody says. The 2 who did maintain it were doing it through this method. They were both eating an entire can of sardines every single day, 7 days a week, and they had optimal levels.
Were they doing supplement as well?
No,
though?
they were not. They actually had optimal levels with no supplementation.
Do you find like 1 gram twice a day is adequate or more?
People need 2,000 milligrams of EPA DHA. That's different than 2 grams listed on the front of the bottle. That's where the confusion comes in. Many brands will say 1,000 milligrams on the front, but on the back, it's giving you small amounts of the active ingredient. So you have to be a little bit more of a detective on these labels.
Good advice.
So tell us again, remind people how could they contact you, or if they want to go to their practitioner and say, hey, I heard this really great lady, Becky Guerin, on the radio, and I want to pursue what she was talking about. What would they need to go ask for?
Absolutely. They are welcome to contact our office at 495-7466 to get any more information about our therapy services that we provide, both at the North River YMCA location as well as at the Shallowford YMCA location. We also have a therapy clinic located inside of there, or they can always go on the Memorial website and under rehabilitation services to find more information.
Now, if someone didn't have insurance, how does that work?
Memorial offers some financial assistance,
Okay.
so we could always help someone navigate through that process as well.
Yeah, there's an application process, but they have an excellent assistance program.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Becky. That was wonderful, and I've learned a lot, and I know other people have also. And it is time for us to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be discussing this really cool friend of ours, bodybuilder extraordinaire, expert in nutrition. I can go on and on, but I'm not going to embarrass him too much. Matt from a wonderful gym here that he's going to tell you all about in Chattanooga. We've got that plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
We're all about healthy living and enjoying life. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones with Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, back again with my partner, Dr. Christopher Greene, and today have a most interesting segment with a good friend of ours, Matt Davis, who is IFBB pro athlete and bodybuilder, trainer, coach, owner of the train station. And welcome to Vital Health Radio, Matt.
Thank you, Ed.
We were all at Nutrition World, and including Dr. Greene, very concerned about you about how long ago? 5 months?
Almost. It's probably about 4 months now.
4 months ago, you really had a tough challenge with your health. And, you know, people are not sitting here and being able to see you. Not that visual is always a determinant of health, but you have always been the picture of the perfect physique, extremely fit, one of the most knowledgeable men I've ever known about proper eating and nutrition studies. You were walking encyclopedia. And all of a sudden, something kind of went sideways. Tell us a little bit about your story.
So what you're speaking of, let's say 4 months ago, I actually had just competed in a professional bodybuilding show. And that, you know, one of my goals through this journey as a professional is, you know, I want to get to the top spots and make the top 5, you know. So this one, as I'm getting older, looking down the pipe, I thought it's now or never, right? I got to do it now. I can't wait another 5 years, can't wait another 10 years. So I'm going to push through. I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I'm going to try to do that. The good news is, as far as that goes, I did take 5th place, and that's a check in the box as far as that goes. But through that, the struggle to prepare for this was unlike any I've ever done before in my life. Everything was a challenge. I didn't feel well for 4 or 5 months. So the day I came back from the competition, you know, I should have been really happy, but I felt really terrible and couldn't breathe, you know, and I thought I'd had this horrible case of asthma. Went to a walk-in clinic, and they kind of confirmed, it's asthma. You know, they gave me breathing treatments and inhalers, and it really just made everything way worse. Went to the emergency room. Long story short, I was in congestive heart failure with an ejection fraction of 15.
Wow.
And I guess we can let Dr. Greene explain really what that means. He can probably do it better.
Yeah, tell us a minute about that, please.
Well, first, we faint at that ejection fraction. You should have, you know, over 50, 55%. So 15 is life-threatening. It just is. And so, you know, by God's grace, you're here and you're doing a lot better. But that is a life-threatening ejection fraction. A lot of times below 30%, we're worried about sudden cardiac death at that point. So that's below 30. So, you know, Matt was well below that. Very dangerous.
Yes.
Wow. And the ejection fraction for people listening is the percentage of blood your heart is beating out per beat.
Okay.
And that's what was 15 for you, Matt?
15. You know, I had severe edema coming. Even having done the bodybuilding show and as lean as I thought I wasn't near as lean as seemed to be as I actually was due to the edema, and things just progressively got worse. So it was a real shock to me, obviously, to do that. You know, the cause of that, I think Dr. Greene has brought this to my attention. Dr. Greene is my primary care physician, by the way, for everybody listening. and the team of cardiologists at Memorial. I think the consensus is most likely is a viral thing that I acquired from some time. Maybe you could speak about that.
Well, I was just thinking about how each year we hear about people dying of influenza. We do, and a lot of times, especially in the younger population, that is from a viral cardiomyopathy. Basically, your heart gets infected, it's hurt, it's injured, and it just can't beat. Sometimes there's arrhythmias when you have an ejection fraction that low. Your heart is often swelling, and the conduction systems can't work as well. You get arrhythmias of the heart that can be fatal. And people sometimes aren't seeking medical attention, and unfortunately they die at home. I mean, it happens a lot, or get admitted to the hospital. Even being young and in good shape, a lot of people do die every year of viral illnesses and cardiomyopathy with a low ejection fraction. So I think, one, God's grace that you're doing well. Number two, if you had not been in top shape, you probably wouldn't be here.
There you go. And the virus did attack the heart. That's what happens, correct?
Yes.
And normally it doesn't, but when it does, then this kind of thing happens. So what was the next step in your journey?
Well, it was absolutely just lambasted. I was in a hospital stay for 8 days. And luckily, I was kind of out of it most of the time. So the gravity of the situation, didn't set in. I will tell you one thing. I remained positive the whole time. I never once thought in my head that this is not something that could be overcome.
Really?
Even despite, some of the you're in the hospital and you seems like you see 50 doctors in and out, and you're getting everybody's opinions. And a lot of the consensus was, this is really bad. One doctor even mentioned something about, in the future being on a list for heart transplants and things like that. So things started to, get serious in my mind, but I never, I was positive through the whole way. So I really didn't have this moment where I thought, oh, it's all over and I've got to change.
Good for you.
And you do have some excellent support at home.
Oh, no doubt about it. My wife and family, my parents, the in-laws, I mean, everybody was there.
And you also have a great amount of experience and working knowledge on how to nourish the body.
Well, and that's a good point. My number one thing, and some people may think this is petty, but they brought the food in from the hospital cafeteria. And my first reaction, and this is, I'm on morphine and can't even hold my eyes open, was I'm not going to eat this food.
I love it.
But my mother-in-law,
the best choice you made.
They did a unbelievable job of cooking and preparing the food the way they know that I would require, and brought it to me every day. My mother is still bringing me food every week, even to.
Aww.
She brought me food yesterday, even though I'm better.
Well, give me 30 seconds. What food would she bring? What are you eating?
Good quality protein base, so grass-fed meats,
clean foods,
maybe chicken. It absolutely has to be non-GMO and or organic, and a lot of vegetables, a lot of green vegetables. Even under those circumstances where the environment I'm in, most people are saying it really doesn't matter. You just be on the cardiac diet, which is basically low sodium. What I found is. I don't know if a lot of people know what that meant. To me, it took it as low sodium and everything else goes, because they were serving me an almost all carbohydrate diet.
Wow, yes.
But I had a feeling that, the fundamentals of just great nutrition, healthy fats, and clean protein and vegetables, I just didn't feel like I could go wrong with that.
Yeah, bingo. And I know of very few who would be able to, or even have the knowledge to do what you did. Because to me, of course, my whole life for 41 years has been built on the belief and the philosophy that we have to nourish our body if we want to have super health and want to recover. And you're exactly right. The foods that are being even served not only at hospitals, but the majority of people who are eating it don't realize that it can be disastrous to our health. Doesn't mean you have to live in a cave and grow your own foods, but we have to be aware of this. And I am, of course, wanting to also educate that we need to supplement as an insurance policy against these things, and that's not taking Centrum, which is worthless.
Absolutely.
So it'd be nice if we had a dietary option like that at all of our hospitals.
Yes, but the problem is the majority of people they wouldn't really want to eat the way Matt does, because they're used to being programmed to eat junk. I mean, I sit at Starbucks every morning and do my readings. I drink one big cup of straight black coffee, and everybody else is getting milkshakes. They call it coffee, but it's nothing but a sugary milkshake, which, of course, most people walking in and out are overweight or grossly overweight, and then they wonder.
And then the scone with icing and all that.
That's right. Okay, so at this point, when did you start recovering?
The echocardiogram is the way they'll measure, the ejection fraction and the timetable. Yeah, I heard 6 months. I heard a year. I heard maybe never. But we came to a time frame which was 3 months that I felt good about, and I think everybody else thought, well, that may show some improvement. But I did just receive the results from that. Everything's back to the normal levels. So I feel good with the protocol and the system. I have a great team, and I have to say, both of you guys I consider on my team.
Thank you.
Ed, you don't know how much stuff and knowledge that I've stole from you over the years, from your podcasts and the emails and the things you put out. But formulating these programs, I think you try to surround yourself with really great people. One thing you mentioned a minute ago was the supplements, and that was they sent me home from the hospital and they said, you got to get off all these supplements. You don't know what's in there. They could be contaminated. It could be
That's the physicians.
Yes, because maybe that caused the heart failure.
Right.
Maybe you had a contaminant from one of these supplements, and I thought, well, maybe if I'm buying my supplements at the supermarket, but I'm not. I know better. I know it's not.
We still have work to do then.
And it was actually one of the first follow-ups with Dr. Greene. We talked about some things as far as lipids and blood pressure and some supplements to maybe include, and that kind of got the ball rolling back down supplement path. And there's some really great things. I would encourage everybody to educate themselves with nutrition and supplementation. Prioritize quality on both. There's some junk supplements out there, but there's some really, really great supplements. So where you get it is absolutely key.
Well,
and have that good foundation of health like Matt already had.
Right. It's a big puzzle, and you just try to put the pieces together. And sometimes I think we're dealt unfortunate hands. But I will tell you, through this experience, I've learned an incredible amount about not just my body, but the way the body works in general, and how the nutrition and the supplementation can influence these things in that realm.
Are you using what's happened to you to encourage other people or help them through hard times?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm very, very thankful every single day to be here, like you said, number one, but to also, the experience, really brought me kind of back to center on really what's important in life, and to live the lifestyle, to give yourself a chance to enjoy those things.
There you go. And because of what you went through, you are going to help so many more in a different way. And so you're off all the drugs now, right?
I am. This is probably news to Dr. Greene. But no, I feel like, and I know, leaving the hospital, I didn't want to be this non-compliant, the irresponsible guy that just, I'm not taking drugs because I don't believe in them. But I feel like I've put in, I did do their protocol for about a month, and then one by one looked at what I could switch in and out while monitoring, the blood pressure and all.
I'm not shocked, by the way, Matt. Not at all, but also I'll support you as well.
Well, and this is what's so amazingly miraculous and wonderful, is because this is like the perfect scenario. A patient who is disciplined and willing to learn and takes responsibility for their own health up to the point that they feel comfortable, but yet working with someone like Dr. Greene. And then Dr. Greene is so supportive, if it makes sense, to respect your wishes. And here we go with a win-win situation. 99% of all patients would still be on the drugs, never take a supplement again, because the conventional medical people are just confused. They're not bad people. They're just confused because they're getting brainwashed from their own industry. And it just is sad. Well, Matt, it is wonderful to hear this story, and we're all so thrilled. If someone wants to contact you at your location, the train station, and you're back doing personal training, you have an amazing gym, how would they contact you?
Phone number is 413-1854, and you can call or text, either one. Social media, Matt Davis on Facebook, on Instagram, Matt Davis IFBB Pro.
Wonderful, Matt. All right. It is time for us to take a break. When we come back, we will be having Dr. Greene's spiritual moment. We've got that plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones with Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, back with my partner, Dr. Greene. And in the fourth segment, we always look forward to Dr. Greene's spiritual moment.
Oh, thank you, Ed. And the spiritual moment is brought to you by Silverdale Baptist Church. If you would like to learn more about Silverdale, just visit their website, which is silverdalebc.com, silverdalebc.com. And they have a wonderful app for your Android or iPhone. Let's start with James chapter 1, verse 17. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. Next, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. Well, when times get tough, remember the following words. You matter. You are enough. Often, our greatest challenges during stressful times come from inside ourselves. We can sometimes be our own worst enemy. It's fairly easy to walk in fear, doubting ourselves and avoiding the challenges we face. We have been given great gifts by God, and one of the greatest is His Spirit inside us. Because of that, we do not have to listen to or believe the lies we sometimes tell ourselves because of fear as well as self-doubt. We do not have to be slaves to fear and doubt, but instead can claim power, love, and self-control. You each possess a unique perspective and a set of unique talents, and can have a positive impact on others that no one else can duplicate. Brad Montague, creator of Kid President, said, "You're more. You're magic. Time to be seen. You're more powerful than you know and more loved than you can ever dream." And Thomas Watson, a 17th century pastor, once said, "If God be our God, He will give us peace in trouble. When there is a storm without, He will make peace within. The world can create trouble in peace, but God can create peace in trouble. So please, do not live your life in fear. Instead, live life fiercely in the strength God Himself has provided." And that has been your spiritual moment for the day. Ed?
Thank you as always, my friend. And I'm reminded of a video that I love to watch sometimes when I'm occasionally a little bit down or struggling, and it's by a guy named Bishop T.D. Jakes. And it is so inspirational. It's basically, don't give up on yourself. Don't let fear dominate, and keep going and pushing, even in the darkest of moments. And so if anyone wants to watch that, please go to YouTube and just type in the word Bishop T.D. Jakes, don't quit.
You know, so many people in history who have accomplished what we would see as great things, and sometimes they're behind the scenes. They're not always Mahatma Gandhi, or he didn't seek fame at all. But so often it's the least likely person to accomplish the task, and they did the work because they were there. They were called to do it. They were the ones that were there at the time and had the need. They weren't necessarily qualified. I mean, Winston Churchill made comments like that a lot of times. He just did it because he had to. He was there.
Yes, he just simply journeyed forward, and none of these people probably ever thought they had it in them when it came.
Maybe they didn't have it in them,
and
they did it anyway.
You know, that could be a great point.
And that's walking in faith and not fear.
Yes, trust. Absolutely. All right. Well, one thing I wanted to say, it was interesting. I always get a little bit passionate about people who walk in and they're like, oh, I get all my supplements from Amazon. I don't mean to be talking supplements here all of a sudden at that moment, but I want to get this point in. The two reasons you don't want to do that is in the heat of the summer, they are destroyed with heat, one. Secondly is Amazon actually came out and said that there are many counterfeit supplements being sold, one of which is the probiotic Align. Align is the one that most physicians are recommending. So you're ordering, first off, a product that, if it was real, is going to be killed in the heat. Secondly, it is counterfeit. And Amazon's not too worried about it. That's what's the concern. But they put out a big notification that, oh, we're sorry, but, there's a lot of counterfeit Align being sold. Well, that's not just one product. There's many nutritional supplements that are counterfeited. You know how easy it is to make a box that looks like the original? And their companies are putting basically worthless ingredients because you can put talc powder in and make it for 2 cents and sell it for $20.
Or even worse, like the counterfeit alcohol we hear about, and it could be life-threatening. It's possible. Yeah, I think I saw either an email or something on your website about the heat. I would have assumed Amazon had some type of climate control in their trucks that were having products like that.
No, I misshipped UPS. So these are, these things are, we get things in the summer ice packed, our probiotics. They are not shipped without ice packing. Nobody does that. If it's from Amazon, you never get ice packed. So again, be a informed consumer, and I'm certainly not saying Nutrition World is the only place, but don't get things like from Amazon.
A long time ago, a few years ago, I did order a special creamer of all things from Amazon, and it came with ice packs.
Oh, really?
That were warm.
Okay.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how long it had been in transit, but they were definitely room temperature or warmer by the time it got to me, so it was completely worthless.
Yeah. Next day aired, it probably would have worked, but then, the cost is ridiculous. And Nutrition World has actually, at this point, pulled the plug last week that 96% of our products are within $1 of Amazon's pricing. So there is no reason for price to even do that. And we are going online in about 4 weeks so that people can now be ordering online. We will have next day delivery in Chattanooga.
Nice.
And it will be in a car that's air conditioning.
And there's no Ed and Katie at Amazon.
Nope, that's right, for sure. And speaking of Katie, thank you for that. She is now a mother of 8 days, and the little one is doing phenomenal. Actually, I'm not really into babies, so I don't know all the numbers, but you know more than I do. But, most babies lose weight after they're born. Her son has already regained the weight as of 2 days ago and put on 2 extra ounces. He is being breastfed. Part of this is my passion and hers for building the vitality of the system with proper foods and supplementation. In fact, on my Holistic Navigator podcast called The Holistic Navigator, we have interviewed Katie. It says, What You Don't Know About Prenatal Nutrients with Katie. And she has a master's degree in nutrition, but has just a sparkling passion for learning, like Matt did earlier. And she's a walking encyclopedia. But the reason that she, I believe, is doing so well and the baby's doing so well is because she built herself up. And it is through the use of what we call the Core 4 for pregnant people. And what people are being told at their conventional practitioners is outdated information. You don't need folic acid. It is actually detrimental to some women. You need methylfolate or folate. What is folate? It's from food. Folic is synthetic. You don't want synthetic, and you want the right amount of omegas that don't have heavy metals, blank, blank, blank. But I'm going to switch totally off that. What about where you ate this week? We have about 4 minutes left.
Well, I think it was because of you talking about it, but I went to Abuelo's out by the mall a couple of times, and one of the best experiences twice that I've had in a long time at a restaurant. So thank you, Abuelo's. One was actually a waitress, Sabrina, if you're listening to this, just wonderful waitress that made the meal very fun. She is at least bilingual, and so we were having a lot of fun, and she was correcting my limited Spanish. So I shouldn't have ever tried that in front of her, but it was still fun. But the food was excellent. The sauces, they bring out the 3 sauces, one of them hot, regular, and then the green, just very good. Now, granted, you eat for content, I eat for taste, so we differ in that. But what I got most recently was, I can't remember the name of the dish, but it had bacon-wrapped pork chops. I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. some potatoes they call papas, and I can't even remember what the name of the dip was that I got as an appetizer, but it had the word Diablo in it, which had to be hot, so something like queso Diablo, and it was excellent. So unique flavors. I do eat for taste, and I'll eat well when I'm cooking for myself. But when I go out, a lot of times I'm eating for fun, and it was excellent. I would encourage you to go back, and anybody else. Wonderful place.
Thank you. And I have gone once this week, and we'll be going back probably every week because it's one of the few corporate chains that truly seems to be on their game. Well, guess what, Dr. Greene? That does it for this week's edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial 98.1 The Lake. It is a production from the Whitfield Media Group. Thank you for listening, and we will be back here again next Sunday morning, 9 a.m. for a radio show that's all about your healthy living. For Dr. Christopher Greene from CHI Memorial, Georgia, I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World, and have a healthy and safe and fearless day.
Thank you for listening to another edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake with Ed Jones and Dr. Christopher Greene. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, is a production of Whitfield Media Group. Join us next Sunday